Hello, Megan. Welcome to Power Women Wellness. How are you today?
I'm fabulous. Thank you so much for having me. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited. I get to have my Pilates queen on the podcast. I'd first just start off, introduce yourself. I know I really am eager to hear a little bit of your story of like what brought you into the Pilates space.
Yeah, it goes way back. So I started as an athlete and then evolved. I was an aerobics queen at one stage, a personal trainer. I did have an injury in cheerleading back when I cheered, and I was struggling a lot with aerobics after that, teaching so many classes, my back was hurting a lot. So someone advised me to go to a Pilates class. And at that stage, I didn't really know what Pilates was. This was like 16 years ago, right? And I was like, okay, let's try out Pilates. I went there. I was humbled in every form and fashion. It was so hard. And I guess as an athlete, you compensate really well, right? Even in aerobics and strength training, you use muscles that you shouldn't be using, but your body just does it because that's what you have to do. There's no compensating in Pilates. So, yeah, so I struggled, and I like that I struggled. I found when I can't do something, I'm going to do it. That's my attitude towards things. So then I became quite obsessed with Pilates and the principles that it holds within its own practice. How you have to like hold your pelvis in neutral, how you have to breathe. I don't breathe half the time, or I didn't breathe. I breathe now. But yeah, like I hold my breath. There was so much tension and just a lot of things that I could bring into my day-to-day life as well to help with my back pain. So I became quite obsessed. I got certified as a Pilates instructor because I wanted to help everybody else that was in pain. So I was like, you actually don't need to be in pain. You don't have to smash yourself at the gym to get results. You don't have to, do these type of trainings
Yeah.
that everyone thinks that you have to do in order to be fit and healthy and active and things like that. So I became quite obsessed with it, and I got certified. We actually had an allied health business for 10 years. And my
Okay.
husband, he's an exercise physiologist, and he already had that business. So I started my practice basically with rehab patients. So I worked with chiropractors, osteos, physios, exercise physiologists. I trained under them, I trained with them. So a lot of my Pilates practice started rehab because I was
Mm.
rehabbed as well. So then I kind of started that way, right? Then I moved out into more functional reformer. Still
Okay.
trained classically. I love the classical repertoire. It's fabulous. It's great. But I felt like there was room to evolve. And this is a huge discussion right now in the Pilates industry, where we spoke a little bit about before, but it's not Pilates. Is this Pilates? Like everyone's kind
For
of
sure.
yeah, like it's evolving, and some people don't like it and some people do, and people are shifting away from the gym to do more of that functional reformer. Let's like fitness on the reformer, whatever you want to call it. Everyone's calling it so many different names now. But I
I
moved.
want a reformer so bad.
They're the best. They're the best things ever. It's so fun. Yeah, so just moving out of that kind of classical repertoire that I was doing so much in rehab into more of a functional reformer. So lunges, squats, deadlifts, just functional movements, but still using the machine. So
Mm.
then from there, I got pregnant with my first
Okay.
child, and I moved my studio, which was about 45 minutes from our house. And I told my husband, I'm going to move it into my garage so that I can just train clients whenever the baby sleeps, right? That was my idea and intention. And it blew up. I started training fit and healthy population. This is like all in a nutshell, lots of in-betweens. But lots of people were hearing about reformer Pilates. There was no reformer Pilates studios in the area I was living in, which was Wollongong, Australia. And they were coming to my garage. So I told Kurt, I was like, you better fix up the garage because people are coming. So I ended up with like 150 members coming to my garage.
Oh my gosh. But I love the humble beginnings though,
Oh
that it
my gosh.
wasn't just like these are the things that you don't see. Obviously, we see the end.
No.
I know you're not even done, but we see like what it
Yeah.
is now. And so it's so cool to kind of hear the, behind the scenes
Yeah.
of where
Well,
it
he was like,
started.
no one's going to come to your garage. I was like, watch this space. Right. So it
People
was like
still do
literally
that. People still do that.
yeah, it was literally a garage. It wasn't nice at all. And then he was like, I guess we should like fit this thing out. So I made it really beautiful, like white walls, curtains, mirrors, like really beautiful because it was set off from my house. So it was kind of like its own little studio within a
Yeah.
studio, right? Within the house. Yeah. So, anyways, after that, I thought we better move this to an actual like space out of our house because it was just getting so busy. The neighbors were getting mad because there was cars and all the things. Anyways, and then I moved the business into an actual brick and mortar space about 100 yards down the road from my house. So I still got to walk there, which was great. I got to walk to work. It was fabulous. So yeah, so that's kind of like how it's evolved. And then I had
Oh,
my
nice.
studio, which I just sold last year before I came to the States. And then COVID happened in between that. So
Yo,
they in
gosh.
Australia, in Australia they closed us down for a while for 2 years. So I started doing online Pilates for my members at the studio. But I was promoting them on Instagram, and
Mhm.
people from all over the world were jumping into these classes. So there was like people from New York, Texas, England, like these places, and coming in to do my class online. Well, when COVID, like we were done and we got to go back to work, everyone was like, "We still want to train with you. We still want to train with you." So then I walked in and told Kurt, I was like, "I'm going to start an app." I'm gonna start a
Love
Pilates app.
that.
So then everybody can do the exercises from all over the world in their living room. Like, I think it was just a really big eye opener that you don't need to go
Yeah.
to places and you don't need all the things to be fit and healthy from home. Like
Yeah.
you don't have to go and spend lots of money. So yeah, so
Yeah.
that's how it all evolved. So I had the app and the studio and 3 kids at the same time. It was great.
Yeah, all the things. And you're still
But
doing like all the things. And so that's what we'll definitely
yeah,
dive into.
yeah,
And I would
we'll
love
dive.
to dive a little bit more into kind of what you mentioned of like what makes your app different and like what should people like look out for in the sense of like what is Pilates and what isn't? Like what are some main key things that I guess would be like not, yeah, I guess it's red flag. Like, okay, it says it's Pilates, but it's not Pilates.
Right. There's a few of those, but yeah, Pilates project is very diverse. It's like a one-stop shop for everyone. So I have classical Pilates, which is the traditional Joseph Pilates repertoire, and then it goes into a bit more of contemporary Pilates. So that's kind of where
Okay.
I like to sit. Although I can teach a classical class, I do love it. I do kind of find myself gravitating more towards that contemporary strength Pilates. I do have full strength training classes, no Pilates mixed in, just strength training, bar, and we have mobility. We got sound healing. I work with dietitians to bring nutrition, meal plans, and recipes and shopping lists all into like one stop. So
Nice.
you don't have to go to you don't have to have a strength app and this app and nutrition and all the things. And then I
Yeah.
find world-class Pilates instructors that are awesome and I bring them on Pilates project as well. So it's a studio. So if you don't like my classes, then you can do someone else's classes or, like it's just like if you go to any studio, there's just certain instructors that you just gravitate more
Yeah.
towards, right? Like, and you like their style and you like the way that they instruct. So I want that for you at home. So we're building, an awesome Pilates foundation from your living room and everything's there for you in one
I
place.
love
But there's
that.
everything, every type of Pilates that everyone's talking about on Pilates project.
Yeah.
So I,
I
I
mean, I
love
do
that.
love it. I do love
Yeah.
it. And speaking of back pain, I did have my back. You guys, I tagged her because I took a couple weeks off, and that was my problem, is I just went way too ham. And so I even started feeling my back just feel a little different, my lower back, after my
Yeah.
strength training session the day before. And then I was like, okay, I'll do Pilates because I did feel my back. And then I did one of your advanced classes, but I didn't mean to do an advanced class. And then I was like in the middle of it, I'm like, why the fuck is it so hard? I'm like, oh my
So
gosh,
hard.
is taking 2 weeks off? Like I'm just
Yeah.
totally destroyed with my strength. And then I was like, oh, it's an advanced class. I'm like, that's why. And so now
Huge
like
difference.
I actually haven't worked out since then because my lower back is kind of hurting me. So I'm taking a little rest, but I'll be back to it.
Oh my
But
gosh.
it's so funny. I don't know. I sometimes miss like strength training so much. I'm like, yeah, let's like go back from my week break and go back to like what I was like lifting
Yeah.
and trying
Too
to like
hard.
hit PRs. And it's like, no, what was I thinking? And
Yeah.
then accidentally taking it. Man, yeah, mess me up.
Yeah.
But I love it. And it does. It so humbles me. Even the beginner class humbles me. And that's why I'm just like, when I
Right.
say like, oh shoot, I took an advanced class, like I did not mean to because
Yeah.
I guess your goal as you move on up is like you're not completely destroyed. And that's how you know, like, okay, I'm getting better. I'm getting whatever. And now I can like move up. Well, I'm definitely still
Yeah.
in the beginner stage.
Yeah, no, that's good. You gotta progress from there. And that's another thing we offer such a wide range. You can start beginner and then over to advanced. But my style of training is also very different. So you'll find that when you take other people's classes compared to mine, because I like to burn out a certain muscle group and I do a lot of layers on top of layers, but different moves so that I get bored very easily. I don't know. I have like a So like for me to do the same move for like a minute, I'm like, okay, what else you got for me? So I just like to do
I
that
love
same
that about
muscle
you.
group. Yeah, same muscle group, but then we just keep flowing, right? We're flowing into different things, which is super fun. But yeah, like it just keeps the brain active and you don't think about anything else but Pilates, your breath, and all the things. So it's
I
great.
am yelling at you a little bit. I remember in that workout, you were like, this is just the warm up. I'm like, what the? I'm like, this is not the warm up. Don't tell me that. And I knew I was like done for, honestly, after I was just like, oh God, this is only the warm
That
up.
is so good.
So I love that. So what are some of those red flags of like, how do people know they're doing true Pilates versus not? Because I mean, I would agree. I think growing up, I always heard yoga and Pilates, like they were always together.
Yeah.
And so I just feel like people just don't even know, like, well, obviously, if they try your app, they'll know it's like this is Pilates. But do you have anything that you can explain to like how they know if
I
they're doing
think
Pilates?
Look, I think movement is movement and it's great. And I don't want to put down anyone else because at least people are moving and getting off the couch and doing things. But I
Yeah,
think if you're really looking for true Pilates, look for the instruction and the cueing and technique because it's all about technique. It's about breath. A lot of the influencers that you'll see that are promoting Pilates and things like that, their form and technique is all over the place. There's
Mm.
no control. There's no kind of fluid moves. Like there's no principles of Pilates in there. Half of the moves actually aren't Pilates, if you want to call them.
Interesting.
But they're saying Pilates and strength, and they're saying this and that. So I know it's a huge thing at the moment, and all the classical Pilates
Yeah.
are instructors are like, that's not Pilates and that's not Pilates, and you're just doing moves on the reformer and moves on the floor. But at the end of the day, people are moving. So as long as no one's
Yeah.
getting injured, I think it's okay. But if you're really looking for specific, like you want Pilates, then just kind of pay attention to what they're doing, how they're cueing, how they're moving as well. And
Yeah.
just look, it's all in the instruction and
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
things like that. So
And I love that's why you also bring other people onto your app too, because like you said, everyone kind of instructs a little bit different, but people
yeah,
can find
everyone
like
has
who they
That's
gravitate
right. Everyone
towards.
has their own style. And yeah, like people that they'll say that they're probably not trained in Pilates, but they're more of a personal trainer and they're incorporating
Yeah.
a few Pilates exercises so then they can call it Pilates, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah.
100%. And I know because, well, obviously what you do is so movement driven. I am not surprised that a lot of your like favorite wellness things, when we asked you in our questionnaire was very movement focused. So I'd love for you to share like how do you incorporate movement daily? I know you do some things weekly. I know you do some things monthly. So like what does that look like for you?
Yeah. So movement is my work. So I try to separate. I know it's actually it's actually challenging for me. So what I do is, so I do my movement for programming and the app and I film and things, but then I have my own time. I actually play really loud music. Latin music is my thing, in my ears and I just flow. And it's funny because I actually come up with the most creative flows or, things to put in. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna write that down real quick. It ends up being work anyway, but at least I'm enjoying myself and I'm not thinking
Yeah.
about it. It's just flowing and doing it. But I do something every single day. And again, monthly because of my cycle. So as I've gotten older, I've really become very, I guess, in with my body.
Yes.
I
Yes.
understand it. I appreciate it more and I listen to it. So if my menstrual cycle is close and I know like I shouldn't be doing a huge heavy strength session or a hit session or anything like that because my back's going to hurt, just like listening to my body a little bit more and actually feel better within myself, even just moving. It might not have been the best workout ever, but I'm
Yeah.
still doing some sort of movement for myself because I used to think I was selfish doing stuff for myself, but I'm like, you know
I think a
what?
lot of people feel that way, to be honest. I
Yeah,
think that's actually the problem is that a lot of people end up not taking care of themselves because they feel like they're selfish, but in reality,
yeah,
I'm like, that should be like the number one top priority thing you should do.
absolutely. I used to be the same, but an hour is 4% of your day. 4%. And the rest of the
Crazy.
day you can give it to whoever else, your kids, your
Yeah.
whoever, your work, whatever it is. But to take an hour, you don't even have to be an hour, it could be less, for yourself, to do something for yourself, to be a better person. In the end, I think you're
Yeah.
more productive, you're better to be around, all that. So I don't feel like I'm selfish anymore. I feel like I need it, and everybody
Yeah.
around me knows that I need it. Like, you need to go and walk. Like,
Yeah.
you need to step outside.
I know. And I
Step
love
outside and
like all
take
the
a breath.
movements you do are so different. Like you have like walking, you have hiking, you have obviously Pilates. Like you really do just try to move in different ways and it doesn't always have to be as regimented. But
Correct.
obviously I feel like your app makes it definitely easier too,
Yeah.
because you also do it by day, right? Like you have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday for people who do need
Yeah.
more of an organized flow.
Well, people don't like to think. It's like when you're going on Netflix, right? And you're there for like you're 30 minutes, and you're like, cool, well, now I'm gonna go because I've just wasted 30 minutes looking
My
for next week.
husband
Or
loves
like,
that. If he could just watch trailers, I think that's so weird, but he loves that. He's just like, yeah, watch all these
oh,
trailers.
funny. But I feel like you can do that in the app, right? Because there's like we have over
Yeah.
500 classes in the app, so you can sit there and like scroll for
Yeah.
hours. So I've curated Monday through Saturday, so you don't have
Okay.
to think. So it's a mashup of strength and Pilates. So a couple
Okay.
days of strength training and a couple days of Pilates, just to make your week really well balanced. But
Love
yeah, like
that.
on the weekends, I everyone's like, why don't you program Sunday? And I'm like, go outside with your family, go for a bike ride, go
Yeah.
for a hike, go swim, I don't kayak, anything. Like just be like go be active
Yeah.
and do something different where you're not told, what to do and things like
Yeah.
that. But yeah,
Yeah.
I have a huge variety of things. Again, like I get bored doing the same thing. So I take my boys with me. My
I love
boys will
that.
go, yeah, we'll
Yeah.
go for a bike ride, we'll go for a hike. They hike with me all the time. They love it.
Yeah. I love
So
that. And I do love your app too because I love that you incorporate it based on like a little gadget. And I like
oh
sometimes be
yeah.
like, ooh, I haven't touched that. I don't know, Pilates ring. I'm like, I want to do something that has that. And I love that you have that because I actually, that's like kind of what I look for of just like,
Yeah.
what am I in the mood to play with?
I do. I love an apparatus. There's not many classes. I did make a few classes. So if people are traveling or in a hotel, then they can just do
Yeah.
the no equipment routine. But majority of my classes have something to play with, which is it's my
Yes.
favorite.
Yes, I would agree.
Yeah.
Switching over a little bit to nutrition, what does your
Yeah.
personal nutrition look like for you? Do you have non-negotiables? And also, do you just have a journey leading up to, obviously you're going to share like, okay, this is what I do. Do you have a journey behind that?
I do. So I think we spoke about this a little bit in the past, but I'll share it here. So I was studying Spanish in Mexico, and I went to a fancy restaurant and ate a club sandwich. And I ended up in the hospital. I was really, really sick from, I guess, food poisoning. And coming back, I struggled with gut problems after that, just really, really bad. I looked 3 months pregnant. I hadn't even woke up and I hadn't eaten anything. I already looked 3 months pregnant. I have inflammation. I had joint pain in my hands, in my feet, all the places.
Yeah.
They thought I had lupus. I almost got diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. No one could figure out what was going on. So I ended up seeing a naturopath, and they identified that I had a parasite. So they gave me some medicine to kill the parasite. They took me off of gluten and dairy because they said that was causing inflammation and things like that in the gut. So I was doing whatever I could because I was in so much pain. It took me almost a year to really get used to eating. How much gluten do we eat in our life? Oh my gosh, like it's just, and you don't even realize until you're actually like looking at it going, wow, that has gluten. Wow, that has gluten. Wow, that has
Yeah,
gluten.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, it's insane. Yeah. So it took me a long time to really get my head around all the things. And so now I don't eat gluten and dairy
Okay.
because of my gut. Yeah, my gut issues. But yes, so I do a high protein diet. I do eat carbs. Everyone's like, stay away from carbs. I love carbs. They're
Same.
great. Yeah, they're great. Especially at night because it makes me sleep really good. It brings my
Yeah.
cortisol levels down. It's
Yes.
fantastic. Yeah, so I do a high protein diet. I do stay away from gluten and dairy. Although some nights I'm tired and lazy, I'll make my kids pasta and I will eat a bowl of pasta, but man, I can feel it the next day. It changes my mood. My energy levels are low.
Yeah,
I look 3 months pregnant again. Like it's just that
for
the same thing.
sure.
But yeah, once you've been off of it for a year and then you have it, man, like you can really, like, you kind of just stay because you feel bad, right? And you just kind of feel like that all the
Yeah.
time. But when you don't have it and you feel good and then you have it, you're like, wow, that's like a
Yeah.
huge impact. So,
Slaps you in the face.
woo, yeah, girl. Then you're like, well, let's get back off that again. It just
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
reminds
yeah.
you of like why you don't have it.
Yeah.
So,
I
yeah.
mean, now that you've been doing it for so long, do you feel like you have anything in your day that you still, it's like you haven't found a substitute for, and you still struggle to, I don't know.
Bread has been number one, so I just don't eat bread.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, I just avoid it at all costs because I feel like the breads that I've tried with that are gluten free are not, they're just, I
No
don't know. I'm
bueno.
like hard, I'm like, yeah, I'll just go without it. I'll just
Yeah. 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 But I'm sure you found like crackers and other things
all the
too.
things. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's definitely evolved like in the last 10
For
years, even like
sure.
this. I mean, when I first started this was probably 16 years ago now. There was like one thing that was gluten free, you know, and
Yes.
now it's like they have a whole section of
Yes.
gluten free things.
Yes.
It's great. Yeah. It's great. The
Pasta,
bread, I'm like,
tortillas, all
yeah,
that.
oh my gosh, all the things. So yeah, it's great.
I love that. And obviously you juggle so much, like with the family and you moving here to the US and you have the business and your health. Mindset is really big for you. So how have you learned to develop a resilient mindset?
Yeah.
And, being real too, like if that's something you still struggle with, and if it is, like how can you kind of come back to that foundational mindset
Yeah.
stage?
I'm gonna be completely honest. I cry a lot.
Which is actually so good. And I hate when actually people
So
try to fight it and they're like,
I don't
I'm
fight
sorry,
it.
I'm getting emotional. And I'm like I might cry. I'm like, cool, let it out. I'm like,
Yeah,
actually, it's so stress relieving to cry. It's so
it
good for
is.
you. So I'm like, please cry.
I really do. I feel so much better after because it's like a build up and then I just cry and I'm like, hey, I feel good. So I cry a lot. I'm not gonna lie. I feel
Love
very
that.
overwhelmed sometimes. I'm like, but look, I'm actually really big into breath work. And for me, breath work and meditation is probably like my good thing for mindset, going for a walk, meeting up with a girlfriend and having coffee, good energy friends, not the ones that
Yeah.
suck your energy out, but yeah, good people you want to be
Yeah.
around. Like it's just things like that that just make huge impacts, I think, in your mindset and just surrounding
Yeah.
yourself with good people. But even just like a 3 minute little like hold your nose, breathe in the car, like while I'm waiting for pick up the kids. I'm like, I'm just instead of listening to music or sitting on my phone going through Instagram, that's my time. I put on this specific song and then I do the breath work and things like that. But yeah, like it's just those 3 to 5 minutes, you know,
Yeah.
it just brings you back and breath work just does magic things. So I'm
Yes. I
I'm
re
really big into that.
I remember I was like so, I don't know, I probably overwhelmed, anxious one day. And it was so funny because obviously I know what to do, but I, for some reason, was just fighting against it just to take like a couple minutes. And then finally, like I caved in because I'm like, gosh, I'm just so anxious. And I did it. And I felt so much better like the rest of the day. And it's just
So
like, why
good.
was I fighting to like do a
Yeah.
couple minutes of it? And I was overwhelmed, I think, from being busy and doing all these things. And I'm like, this was like a reminder that I needed that like the 3 minutes that I do
3 minutes.
this is
Yeah.
not the end of the world. The
Yeah.
things will, I will accomplish the things and finish them up, but I'll do it in a better like mindset and feeling instead of just feeling like overwhelmed and anxious. Anyways, I was just like sitting there honestly kicking myself. I'm like, I'm honestly a little stupid. Like I should have done this like beginning of the day. Like I don't know why
Yeah.
I waited until afternoon to finally cave and do it.
Yeah, and it's just simple. Like it's a simple thing that you can do. It doesn't cost money. It's, you
No.
know, like it's just super easy. You just need to breathe, which we all do. But yeah, like it's pretty like high on my list in that and just being around nature for me. Like
Yeah.
yeah, like as a family, we just love we are missing the beach a little bit. So we did go to the beach last week, but we're missing the beach a little
Nice.
bit, just like diving into the salt water. It's just nothing like it. So we're trying to find things here around Austin that we can kind of bring back into our life
Yeah.
around nature and stuff like that. So it's just
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, for sure. And even studies show it reduces cortisol just being out in nature. So right there.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Breath work in nature, girl. That's it.
I know. And that's, I do think we kind of make it a little complicated. We're
Yeah,
looking for a supplement, we're looking for something. And I
absolutely.
do even some of the classes that like I do virtually, like master classes, when I like share those things of like grounding and being out in nature and like the studies that support that, it's so funny because I'm like, what's all of this have in common? All of it
Yeah.
has in common of just slowing down and,
Yeah.
saying no and just making time for just being and not
Yeah.
listening to a podcast, not listening to music, just like truly just being and sitting in the grass and listening to the birds chirp. There's just
Yeah.
something so magical about that. And I think we just overcomplicate it and it doesn't have to be.
Yeah, we're all just so busy. We don't want to take the time, you know, to
Yeah.
do that. But it's really nice. I've
Yeah.
become, I don't know, I'm really into that at the moment because I feel like I would be a crazy person if I did it.
You'd
I
be
just have
crying 5x. Just
I
kidding.
would be cry- I just have so many moving parts and I'm spinning 9 different plates, girl, and
Yeah,
it's just like it's a lot, you know. So I
for
think
sure.
yeah, just finding that time for yourself.
For sure. And in the business front, is there something, because I know that we were just talking before we were recording of just like how needing to be kind of like ahead of the game
Yeah.
always, to make sure that like your brand and your business stands out. But is there something that in business that you're currently still learning and navigating and trying to, get better?
Yeah, always. So I got into the IT business with the app, but have no, I had no idea I was like, I just want to teach Pilates online. Woohoo! Going in there like yada da. And then I'm like, oh
Yeah.
wow, this is like full. So, and they're always releasing new things and on the
Yeah.
app. Like now we're bringing music in and you can do this and you can save this. And so I think just always keeping up with the times and it's always
Yeah.
evolving, just like Pilates is right now. Like it's the fastest growing industry right now in the world. Like it's all, and so is IT. Like they're always
Yeah.
bringing out new things. We just launched this new product called Studio Connect, which is a new thing that we released last week in Vegas, week before. So that's super exciting. So now we're bringing on-demand Pilates into gyms, hotels, community places, all like in Pilates studios as well. So it's not going to supplement an instructor, but it's just bringing more hours that people can come in and use the reformer on those off times,
Mhm.
where an instructor can't be there or they can't get to the early morning classes for whatever reason, kids work, things like that. So it's pretty exciting.
I
So
love
that's
that so much. I'm probably gonna get off this call and just kind of look for a reformer. I feel like actually I've mentioned it to my husband, and he loves Facebook Marketplace. I hate Facebook Marketplace, but he will look a little bit, and I feel like I've caught him a couple of times like looking for one. I don't know if he wants
for
to do it too, but we just love like having that. So like our whole upstairs, like we have the tonal, we have Fight Club, which is more of like the virtual like boxing. Anyways, I just love getting into that. And I think I actually saw something of a reformer of that nature, kind of like a tonal. I just feel like it wasn't though as I'm sure you've probably seen maybe something like it. I don't
with the
know if it's
screen.
like yes.
Yeah, so that's attached to the machine.
Yes, yes, yes,
Yes,
yes.
yeah, I've seen that one. Yeah.
So I've seen
This
so
one's a
I know
yeah, this
that's
one's
up
a
and coming.
standalone. So it doesn't matter what reformer you have. You just
I
put
love
the
that.
the stand next to it. Yeah, so just like when you go to a hotel gym and they have the bikes with the screens, it'll be the reformer with the stand.
I
So
love that. That's such a great idea.
you
And
totally get one for home though.
I
It'd be
know,
so
I
fun.
know. I know because I watch you on it. I'm like, that looks so much fun.
It's so fun. You can bring your inner dancer out, even if you weren't a dancer. It's like things that you do. You're like, oh my gosh, I feel really graceful. It's
Oh
like,
my gosh, I bet. Or maybe I'll look like a hot mess on it. I'm not really
at
sure, but
least you
either
feel like
way.
it. You probably look like a hot mess, but at least you feel like you're doing. I feel like a swan.
Yes, yes, exactly. And so tell me more about this Pilates and wellness retreats. Is this
Yes,
also something
these
new and upcoming?
this is my fourth baby. So I've been running these retreats for maybe 5 years now, and I don't do many of
Okay.
them. So they're pretty exclusive. I just run 3 a year. Um, and I've just curated this experience. So most of the people that come are usually Pilates Project members, which is so great because in we have the community in Pilates Project and we interact that way. Like I love this class, Meg, or I really struggled, or I'm struggling with this move. How can so I get that interaction with them, but I don't get to meet them face to face and we don't get to have that connection. So this is a time where I get to meet the Pilates Project members, which I really love. And we just get to be around like-minded people for the weekend. So I've curated this 3 nights, 4 days of all the things that I love. I'm like, I love it so much, but I feel like everyone else would love them
I would do
too.
that too. Yeah.
I'm like, I feel like if I wanted to, like, if this is what I love, people will also come, right?
For sure.
So I get a chef in and they make all like farm to table breakfast,
Mhm.
lunch, and dinner, snacks. We pair wines with it as well. We do 3 different forms of breath work. I spoke before about I love breath work. So we do an aggressive form of breath work and then an ice bath. And it's funny because out of the Pilates sessions and all the things that I've organized, I find that everyone's takeaway, like if we ask them at the end what they love the most or what they found, like was their takeaway, it's the ice bath.
That's
And
so
I
interesting.
but I think it's because they just put this mental block straight away. I'm not getting in the ice bath because it's an option. Obviously, everything that we do over the weekend's an option, right?
Yeah.
And we do it as a group. So there's usually 16 to 19 people, depending on where it is. And I think the energy that everyone brings, because everyone wants to get in, or some people don't, and then they end up getting in, they get in, and it's like they've broken that mindset that they can't do it. that they can't do
Yeah.
something, and then they've actually done it. And then it's funny because the people that are like, I'm not getting in, I'm not getting in, get in multiple times after. Like we give like, hey, anyone else want to get back in? They're like, I do. And I'm like, but
That's
it's
hilarious.
yeah, but I think it's just breaking that block of that mindset of I can't do something, but then they can
Yeah.
do it. And it's like mind over matter, you know. So as I'm like, what do you mean your Pilates classes weren't your takeaway? Like I'm offended. No, but it's just something that's I think people struggle with, or you know, that to move
Yeah.
forward because they don't want to do it and then they've done it. But so we do reformer Pilates and we do some mat Pilates. I run a sound bath as well. So that's the second type of breath work. And then we do the third one is called Wild Alchemy. So this one's interesting. It's you can research it if you're interested in learning about it, but it's a type of breath work. So you're either when you do breath work, this breath work is a little bit aggressive. It's not super aggressive, but it's about a medium form, I think, of being aggressive. So you when you release emotions, you cry, you laugh, or in this one, people have orgasmed, which I thought was very interesting. So it's just a release of some sort. I haven't experienced the
What?
orgasm release yet, but I am like, I've done the laughing and the crying so far, but
Next.
it's just that release of emotions. Most people cry.
Wow.
Yeah, I of course have to bust out laughing. It's so inappropriate because the person next to me is crying, but it's just like a, you know, however you respond, and it's a safe space. I do this on the last night, so then by the end of the retreat, you kind of feel comfortable with the people around you because
Yeah.
a lot of the time you don't know half of those people, but you've become friends over the week and over the weekend and things like that. So if you feel like you want to cry or laugh or whatever you're doing, then you feel comfortable in that space, and everyone's got their eyes closed, no one's looking. So it's pretty awesome. It's just like a huge, diverse weekend of things. It's really fun. We have like a massage lady, and she does facials and massages as well. And you just relax. You can read a book. You got downtime, lay by the
I love
pool.
that.
Yeah, there's kangaroos bouncing everywhere. The ones I have in Australia, like it's they have chickens running around, and
Oh
it's
my gosh, I love that.
the space is all open, like outdoors. It's just, yeah, it's just really, really awesome. So I'm running two in Byron Bay, Australia, May and June. And then I'm running one at Canyon Ranch in Arizona in September. But
Nice.
yeah,
Amazing.
so that's kind of the retreats. They're great. They're like my little babies, but it's just nice to be able to connect with people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
face
I
to
agree.
face
Especially when
on a
it's so
different,
virtual. It's so
yeah.
nice to like in person. It just kind of hits different. I
It does.
agree.
It's really great. Everyone's like always on a high when we finish. So it's I actually have people that came last year that are coming back this year, which I thought was really awesome because I feel like
Love that.
yeah, like that they felt they can come back and do the exact same experience. I was like, should I change it? They're like, we don't want you to change it. We want to do the exact same experience again.
I
And I
love
was like, well,
that.
it won't be the same experience, right? Because you have different people and things like
Yeah.
that. But the fact that they wanted to come back, I thought that was really, really awesome. So
They got real chill and maybe even orgasm. So they're coming back.
they cried last time, so maybe it'll be an orgasm this time. Maybe they've released all those emotions and it'll be a bit of a different journey.
Oh
Oh
my
my
gosh,
gosh.
that's
I know when the lady
hilarious. I
told me
love
that, I
that.
was just like, wow, this is going to be an interesting retreat. But
Okay, I know it is so interesting. I mean everyone responds to things very differently. So like it's not
absolutely.
surprising. But I'm just like, "Oh my gosh, what would I do if that was me?" Or if it like I don't know. That's
I
pretty
don't know
powerful.
either. I know I haven't witnessed one yet, so we'll
That's too funny. Well,
yeah.
do you have any resources, books that you've read in the past, podcasts that you listen to that have helped you in your journey and like, building that career, whether it's like building confidence or maybe it's more technical things, becoming an entrepreneur or anything like that?
I do. I listen to Brennan Burchard a lot. He's coming
Okay.
to Austin. Yeah. So
Yes.
for a long time I listened to a lot of his stuff. And the book that really impacted me was The Dumbest Guy at the Table.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which I thought it really resonated with me. Especially as a business owner and like entrepreneur. So yeah, if you're in the entrepreneur space, have a listen. You can listen or you can read it. But it's really, really interesting and it makes you look at things different as a business owner. So I
Oh,
really like
okay. I'm adding that
yeah,
one then to my
yeah,
Audible.
yeah. this out of all the I mean, I've read
So
many, but
many.
that's the one that's kind of like I always come back to that.
Yes, yes, yes. And it's so true because I've heard that phrase or idea in so many like podcasts that I've listened to, because you know that when you are the dumbest person in the room, that you know that you are around people that are going to help you and grow you. Because you ideally don't want to be the smartest person in the room, because
Right.
then what I mean, you can give, but like what are you going to get from it? So like I've
Yeah.
heard that term and understanding and all that, even though that's so intimidating, but also
Yeah,
at
it
the same
is.
time needed for growth.
It is, yeah. Yeah, it's been probably the most impact. And then my mom has been a business owner for 43 years and she's owned multiple businesses and properties and sold them and things like that. So she's also been quite of an impact, especially as a woman in business. Like she's definitely been my driver, and I've watched her from when I was young to now, and she still has her business. I'm like, Mom, she's 70. I'm like, girlfriend, you need to get rid of that business. Like you need to, you know what I mean? Like
You
you need to
actually need to relax
retire.
now.
Yeah, retire and have some fun. Like let's move on from this. And she's still like things will happen. She's like, this is why I love it. Like it's just really, yeah, it's really nice to see that.
I'm sure my daughter will say the same thing about me, because yeah, but I can't envision retiring,
Yeah.
just because I just feel like it keeps you young, it keeps you in, it keeps you going, there's something to look forward to. Like there's only, and I love chilling. You can ask anyone. Like I will read 5,000 books. No, I'm just kidding. But I'll read like 5 books in a weekend. Like I can read, I can chill, I can watch shows, but there's only so much of that. And then I just feel like
Mhm.
everyone really thrives on having a purpose in
Yeah,
life. And so I feel like when you
absolutely.
retire, you kind of lose that. You can lose that a little bit. I
Yeah.
know some people get into volunteer work and stuff, but I'm like, yeah, I don't see myself doing that.
No, me either. I'm gonna be like my mom. I'm still gonna be doing something, whether it's
Yeah.
just managing something or little things. But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
she's
love
been
that.
quite impactful on me as well.
I love that. Okay. So where can people find you? Social media, website? Give us the
Yes.
goods.
Social media is at my Pilates project. Website is pilatesproject.com. So you can find me on there.
Perfect.
We are offering everyone today.
Yeah.
So you do get a 7-day free trial. We're going to give 40% off your first month after the 7-day free trial. So it's not included. So you get, yeah,
Good.
for
I
that.
love that. I know
And
everyone has to do it. It's the best. You'll be
yeah.
hooked. And I've done both, like you and other instructors on your app, but I will say I always gravitate towards you because I do love the way you teach.
Thanks, girl. But it's good to have a variety, right? Variety is a spice of life. So,
Yes. Well, thank you
yeah.
for coming on today.
Aw, thanks so much for having me. I loved it.